Welcome. It's 10 Minutes Today.
Howdy.
Your favorite Thrace weekly show right here on YouTube. I'm Jake, and that's Matej. And we come to you every single, did I ever say that? Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Right here on YouTube? Pretty sure I just did.
Follow us on Twitter, Pop.
Oh, I didn't do Pop in the last video.
No, you
That's
didn't.
so
That's fine.
sad.
You didn't on like 5 videos, but it's okay.
Today's topic is that Russia claims to have killed the caliph, the leader of ISIS, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi.
Have they?
Yes. Well, so this is the thing. This is the fourth time that a country they don't claim it as like oh, I'm pretty sure we killed him. Mm-hmm. They are like 99% sure they killed him, but he's escaped 3 times. He was there in the building but survived the attack
Somehow.
This time it was at the end of May that this bombing happened in the city of Raqqa, which is just outside of Mosul, which is, as of today, actually, the sun has now set in Syria, so it's tough for journalists to tell, but the last report was that the Islamic State was making their last stand in Mosul.
What do you mean the sun has set?
Like, literally, it's dark now. So journalists have trouble identifying who's where in the city they're fighting.
Why don't they just wait till morning?
Well, that's what we're doing. But I'm just saying, as of right now,
okay.
The sun's gone down. So, like, they could
Is it
be
like
out,
Alaska, like perpetually?
Like, they could be out of Mosul, or they could have
I see.
retaken over a whole
I
portion
see. So
of the
as
city.
of today.
Yeah, like the last
I
reports that
understand.
came out
Okay.
of Syria were that they were making their final stand in the last little neighborhood against, I forget, like 2 militaries, the Kurds, a whole group
Sure.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sure.
No one likes them.
Great.
That's what happens when you throw people off of roofs and shoot people in the head and cut their heads off and stuff. They tend not to like you.
I'm not surprised.
But as I was saying, this is the 4th time that a country has claimed that he's dead. So it's possible that he's still alive. But
Sure.
I just want to talk about the significance and whether or not it is significant. So you say it's not. Why?
Well, I feel like it's just like a hydra. Like you cut off the head and 2 more grow back, you know? Like I feel like this whole war on terror and ISIS and Islamic State and all this, Al-Qaeda, all this shit. It's an ideological war. And you can't win an ideological war with guns and bombs.
So how do you win it?
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is because what happens is you're going in, you're shooting people, you're trying to vanquish the enemy, but the enemy is telling other Muslims that aren't radicalized, see, white people hate you, they outcast you, and then they paint this whole picture that citizens of America and Canada and westernized countries fall into that narrative. Because you see all these white people now, and not only white people, but predominantly white people.
They say
I'm
white
saying,
people.
but you see white people outcasting like Muslims in their own country, you know, like segregating them, don't want to talk to them, you know, like I don't like you. You see a lot of hate speech, things like that, right? And it just plays into that narrative, and I'm sure that helps radicalize more Muslims. You know what I mean? Because it's that whole like picture that the terror groups are trying to paint, and I think that by just feeding into that, it's not a way to win. You can't win an ideological war with weapons.
So I agree that you can't win the war with weapons, but you kind of contradicted yourself by going and saying that they're painting this picture, so we have to be careful of what we say and whatnot. I take the complete opposite approach. I completely agree with... actually, if I had to pick one person who I completely agree with on this is Majid Nawaz, that we're not, like, you're not going to convert everyone. Like, you're not. Islam is not going away. So people,
you mean convert them?
Like, complete them either to atheism or something else. Like, that's not going to happen.
You mean, like, to change their religion?
Yeah.
Oh, no chance.
Islam is going to exist forever.
Oh, for sure.
That's what, like, if Richard Dawkins is like hardline atheist that like until everyone is an atheist, there's going to be strife. Sorry, but there's always going to be war.
Oh, for sure.
And there's always going to be religion.
Oh, definitely.
And they're going to go hand in hand until
and even if
the end.
one is gone, the other is still there. Like
exactly.
if they're not codependent.
But I can't agree with the liberal stance that, for some reason, I don't like. I've really struggled with their position on this. The left-wing position just doesn't make sense. That we have to accept Muslims and Islam as the same thing, because like it's so easy for us to be like, that guy is Christian, but we know that Christianity is fucked up. Like, look at God in the Old Testament. He's like, fuck that bitch because she's a woman, and throw that guy off a cliff because he doesn't like me.
Yeah, it's very contradictory.
And then all of a sudden, in the New Testament, Jesus comes around and God's like, oh, it's all good.
Jesus comes and he's like, no, guys, you misunderstood.
Yeah, and so...
But the fact that it still has both, like the teachings still come from both the old and the new, that's what's a little bit weird, because it's very contradictory.
But we can look at Christians, we can look at just Christianity in general, and we can separate it. We can be like, you're a Christian, but I know that you don't really think that owning slaves is a good thing. For some reason, when we sit here and say, when I say we, I mean people who are actually famous and people who watch them, like the likes of Bill Maher, Sam Harris, Majid Nawaz, Ayaan Hirsi Ali. These people say, look, the practices in Islam, the things that are actually taught, just like they're taught in Christianity and Judaism and whatnot, these are bad things. They're not bad people. Why can't we separate that? And until we figure out a way... What
do you mean they're bad things?
I don't know. Maybe throwing gays off of roofs, stoning your wife because she was raped, slitting your daughter's throat because she won't marry your second cousin who you're forcing her to marry. Those are bad... Matej,
no.
Stop.
That's
Those
not what I'm
are
saying.
bad things.
No
and
shit.
Why can't... But... Why is that controversial to say?
No, I'm not saying that. No, I'm not
and
disputing
people
that
who
at all.
believe in living under a caliphate believe this is good. Those people, that group of Muslims, are fucked up. That is wrong.
What I'm saying is, you're saying that that's what's taught. I'm just saying, is that just like what's written? Like, there's things in the Old Testament that are written like that as well?
Yeah, but you have to.
Or
you're conflating. No.
No.
Look,
I'm asking.
Let me
a question.
explain to you. Let me answer your question. I'm trying to.
Okay.
The Bible, right, is written after Jesus' death, and it's completely different from the Quran, because the Quran is the word of God directly. So it is perfect in all of its forms. So if you are even if you're like a very dedicated Muslim who's like, I'll never, I won't kill my daughter because she's raped. I won't slit my son's throat or throw him off a building because he's gay. But they still believe that everything in the Quran is perfect in its own way. And they believe that they are sinning by not doing those things.
So at their masses, they are encouraging this. Or whatever you call them.
So it depends on the imam, obviously, but it just came out this week on Sam Harris's Waking Up podcast. He had a journalist who's he just wrote a book on the Islamic State, and he didn't actually go to Syria, but interviewed leaders around the world. And he identified 5 people in Australia, the United States, Canada, the UK, and I think the other one was in France. 5 leaders, imams, who preach like you would have no idea. This guy is in the mosque down the road, and he's there literally sending young people to the Middle East. And everyone that listens to this guy preach would say like he's extreme, but he's not that extreme, because it's not obvious unless you're in it, unless you're embedded in the culture. So for people like us to be like, it's the same, all gods are the same, the Bible and the Quran are the same, it's not, because you as a Christian wouldn't believe that God, or even, Jesus is God, wrote the Bible. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote it 70 years after he died.
That's for the New Testament, dude. There's 2 sections.
But even in the Old Testament, the Torah was not written by God. It was written by the word that Moses and Abraham told other people, and it was written by other people. The Quran is literally like, God wrote this. God wrote this.
God put the pen on the paper.
God put pen to paper, stone to slate, or whatever the fuck. Yeah. God did this. It's completely different. And until people really understand that that's what you're dealing with, You have absolutely no chance. None. No chance of winning this war. That's really annoying. We need a different buzzer. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. Come back every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And Matej, hit the music.
Okay.
I don't really remember what it sounds like or what the beat is. So I'm just...